evening, everybody. Welcome along to the TRSF1 series provided by Trovo, Brutal Democracy and PSGL, among others, on BDG's Trovo channel. Last time we were one of the longest laps on the calendar in Belgium, and tonight we go to one of the shortest as I host round 6 of this series at Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix. My name is Jess, also known as Jess Games 95, one of your commentators, and joining me in the commentary box we've got Mark Alimonda. How you doing, Mark?
Thanks very much for the introduction, Jess. There's always a buzz in the air when we come to visit Monte Carlo, one of the most glamorous and famous motorsport venues in the world, a temporary street circuit, and very excited to see what goes on here. Overtaking, obviously extremely difficult here, but there's always a surprise in store.
Yes, first opened basically in 1950 in the Formula One calendar. It's known for its glitz and its glamour. The track is 3.3 kilometres long and it has 19 turns. It has 7 to the left, 12 to the right, and it's only one DRS straight towards the start-finish straight. So this is going to make more challenging for the drivers. At track extended, for the most part, corner cutting isn't usually an option around here. And we got the softest Pirelli tyres that the drivers will be facing today, and obviously the wet tyres, should they be required. More of that a little bit later on. But we got to talk first about CRG. CRG are just on top of their game with Matthias winning in Belgium. They're just on form right now with a gap that they can't really lose in this race.
No, I mean, even if both of CRG's drivers crash out tonight, they're still going to be leading the championship. They've had a phenomenal series so far. Certainly on the PS4 side, at least, the strongest sort of non-esports series squad, that is for sure.
Yeah, and they got 2 strong drivers as well coming up in a second. But we've got Conrad Gaming, who is leading the standings with 259 points. Not closely followed. We've got Visual Esports in second, the Falcons in third. Not much of a gap between those two, so the battle for second is going to be interesting tonight. We've got NWS Esports and BDG tied on the same amount of points with 135 points. So that's going to be an interesting battle as well. Team Shazoo in 6th place on 101 points. S2B in 7th with 89. Veteranos in 8th with 86 points. VRT in 9th with 54. And our newest team to the series, Team Mentalism, in last with 16 points. And before we head to the qualifying session, shall we go through the lineup, Mark? I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, certainly. Well, mostly familiar faces, but we've got a few out there. VSR, they've got the veteran driver Casper in there. Very, very good choice, and a bit of a Monaco specialist from previous series that I've seen him race in. So quite a good choice for the streets of Monte Carlo. Mentalism, they've decided to go for 2 new drivers for this week, Killcry and the confusingly named World Rally 1992, but I'm sure he's an F1 fan as well. Brutal Democracy, they've stuck to some of their familiar drivers with Warren and Fabi. VRT, they've got a new driver tonight, and that is Benjamin alongside Gavin, who has made the most appearances of VRT this season. And then Falcon is currently 3rd in the championship. Avaras and Nardi, who have had very solid results this season, not far, only 12 points behind Visceral Racing at the moment, so they'll be looking to get ahead of them tonight if possible. SHG have Aero and Juice, and then SUV have Jorpa and Zogalat, and then Sparks and Gamer62 representing CRG, so an extremely strong pairing. Gamer, of course, winning the AOR race last Sunday, so in excellent form. Then Veteranos, it is Fire and Ignaz, and then finally NWS with Christmas and Waters. So it's a pretty strong lineup, and it seems like some of the teams have gone for some of their street race specialists, which, given the circuit we're at today, is a very fine choice.
Yeah, and remember in Singapore, when you were commentating out, we saw Gnarly take his first win for Falcons. Falcons and CRG actually the only teams to won a race in this series, but there's a lot of teams that could change that tonight, and we are going to go straight to qualifying. And just like last week, Mark, we've got a wet qualifying at this moment in time. We may see it come to dry soon, but it's a wet start at least, so that means a bit more precision, and it's one of those tracks where qualifying is definitely important if you want to have a good race here.
Qualifying is absolutely important here. Track position is king. I mean, in a dry race at least, unlike most circuits, you often see drivers, especially those in the top 10, wanting to go as long as possible, because the one thing you don't want to do is pit and end up behind traffic, because if you're behind a slower car at this track where it's so difficult to overtake, you can lose so much time, and then later on when they pit, you'll be losing track position to those who overcut you.
Yeah, remember in 2016 as well, Daniel Ricciardo got on pole position, but it was the pit crew that let him down really when they stuck on the wet tyres and the slick tyres weren't ready for them. So that was where Lewis Hamilton won the race. And we saw lots of other tracks as well where people were just on the tyres for a long time, and that just helped them more than anything because they had track position. So we're looking at the timings at the moment, pretty close between the top three, but we've got Casper making his return. Obviously, he's on pole position, and as you said, definitely likes Monaco, and he's got a really good gap to Falcon in third, but it's quite close between him and CRG Gamer as well, so that's going to be interesting as well. And Spark in fifth place as well. Now, Luke has retired from the session as he's got a qualifying ban, but everybody else has set a representative lap time, apart from Simon, who is yet to set a lap. As he goes towards the final corner, you've got a 1/10 better than his previous best time in sector 2. It's a 1:21.0 that puts him in P11, and you wouldn't want to be starting in the middle around Monaco because there's a lot of things that could go wrong around there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Sandoval's one of the most dangerous turn ones, but I think the hairpin, the slowest corner in Formula 1, that's very dangerous in lap 1. Everyone's going to be going in there, piling in there. Concertina effect is severe, so the chances for broken carbon on the front wing, very high, particularly on the first lap.
Yeah, indeed. I'm trying to find someone on a lap. I can't really tell who is on a lap because they're just getting a feel with the track. And I'm assuming that it's probably going to be a dry start to the race as they've been on those intermediate tyres for quite a bit. Or maybe they're just getting a feel as what it's going to be like in the start of the race as well. Just getting climatised a little bit as well. Not much ERS is used in the wet as well. So that's why they can go for a few more runs. And they probably wanted to go for a little bit of longer runs too, as quite a few people have gone into the pit lane. So we've got two CRG boys in at the top 10, as well as S2V doing very well as well in 5th and 6th. We've got Aero in 7th, Fabi as well doing well in 8th, then we've got Crispus in 9th, and Veterano's doing very well in P10, and the McLaren a very, very strong showing at the moment. And if people start to bin it in the first couple of laps or even longer, even if you stay in, you can get loads of points off your rivals, and this can mean anything going to the final few rounds. You just can't make any mistakes. Even though CRG has got a comfortable gap now, if they made too many mistakes in the next few races, a lot of teams may start to catch up.
Yes, indeed. But at the moment, they're P2 and 3. I think in some ways they'll be thinking, well, this might not be our track for Sparks or Gamer, but if we can just play the percentages and get another really excellent haul of points, it's just going to make it ever more difficult for the rest of the teams to catch up. But we're at the halfway stage of the season now. We've had 5 rounds. We're now entering the second half of the campaign, and but I think Monaco, given its attributes, given how unforgiving the barriers are here, no runoff errors. This isn't France, for goodness sake. This is not Paul Ricard. If you make mistakes here, they're going to be magnified tenfold. So I think it is an opportunity for those who maybe not typically pace-wise will be up towards the front of the grid to get a great result here.
Yeah, exactly. 39 laps await these drivers as well, and mainly the hards won't be used around this track mainly because the hards are only used if you get damaged. So it can be rewarding if you get damaged on, say, lap 3 or lap 4. It won't affect your race if you pit around them because you can keep track position. Everybody else will probably have to pit, and boom, you may be able to stay on those hards to the end and possibly get a good result. But we've seen some other instances in PSGL as well where it's been the exact opposite, and some of these drivers will be going to Monaco for PSGL season 27, which just had their placements released on Monday. Some drivers were really, really happy with their placements, some people a little bit disappointed, but we're seeing a few familiar names on this grid in the top few tiers of PSGL, and that is just great to see. Obviously, Casper making his return to the F1 tier, as well as Gamer as well. Sparks is coming back too. I mean, Fabi dropping down into tier 2. I mean, it's going to be a great season for PSGL next season, but this is just practice for some of these guys for when that race comes in. Not very long to go, actually, until that race is on the calendar. So they've got to get their wits about them, to be sure.
Absolutely. Well, Casper's on another flying run, slightly down on Sector 1. I mean, it looked a pretty solid Sector 1, just couldn't quite hook it up to gain a bit of time, which suggests that his fastest Sector 1 was a pretty solid one. Going through the tunnel now, very dangerous, the tunnel in wet conditions, because it's completely bone dry. Then you go back onto a wet circuit again. So you have to really work on getting the braking correct for the Nerval chicane. And then heading down through the spectacular, Tabac swimming pool section. I mean, to sit there and watch an F1 car going through that must scarcely believable that they can take that much speed. And then heading up to the end of the lap. And, well, Casper, better sector 2, so it's going to be pretty tight to see if he can improve here. As he bats across the line, can he improve on a 125, 1-0? And he does, he's into the 119s, and that is absolutely smashed it. So that may suggest that the rain is easing off a bit, or it was a spectacular lap. We'll find out, because Gamer is also going faster, so I think the track is beginning to ramp up ever so slightly.
Just like last week in Belgium as well, we saw roughly about this point that the rain was starting to ease off, and that's why a lot of people were going out on the circuit. And really, if you're out now, you're going to have a huge advantage. Christmas, the only driver not out inside the top 10, as Gamer goes second faster. He's improved on his previous best. And Avaro in second for Team Falcon in P2, so beating the two CRG boys at this moment in time. And I've got to say, I've said before the stream team up, Falcon were looking like they were going to be on a high as well, after obviously getting two great drivers that are known for street circuits as well. Nardi winning in Singapore, Avaro having some strong showings as well. I mean, you know, this could be another strong showing for the Falcon team tonight, and especially they're in a Mercedes just like Lewis Hamilton did in 2019. It should be interesting to see, but we've got close times already in the intermediate conditions. I wonder what it's going to be towards the end of the session, where the track starts to get a lot better in terms of grip. But will we see it turn to dry very, very soon? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, just on board with Sparks at the moment. He has not improved in the first two sectors, so he's definitely not going to improve on his current time. So struggling just a little bit. See if he can get in as Casper goes even faster. So just over 3/10 to Falcon now. Here comes Sparks then for the line. It might be an improvement overall. No, it's not. He did not improve, unlike all of the rivals. So Sparks was third, and now he's dropped down to P6. So he's got a bit of work to do, but he's got fuel for another run.
Yeah, most of these guys have got fuel for another run as well. And
Gamer nearly getting it. Oh, that was a cracking lap from Gamer, but not quite enough to beat Casper, who just improved.
Yeah, I've got to say, the battle for the win today, I think it's got to be between these two guys. You know, they're such Gamers on a high after his AOR win on Sunday as well, and Casper looking like a league of his own in the F1 games as well. Was picked up by the Renault Esports team. Hasn't raced in any of the esports races so far, but he's really had some development with the Renault Esports team, visiting their factories and stuff, and learning about the mentality of racing, which I've seen on Twitter as well. Mentality is just as important as the actual talent as well. If you've got to drive good, obviously, but if you have a bad mentality, that's not going to help you win at titles. As Aero has had a little bit of a slide there, just past the swimming pool section and into Raskas, and he just invalidated his lap. I'm trying to see if anyone else is on a
Sparks has gone
time.
purple. Yep. Sparks has gone purple in sector 2, so I'd have a look and see as he's about to end his lap.
Here he goes then, Sparks in the Haas car, and he's got someone in front of him as well. But is he going to beat the likes of Casper and Gamer for pole position? He goes 3/10 quicker than his previous best, but that still puts him in P5. But that's still a very respectable position for CRG Sparks, as he's showing consistent results in this league as well. Is there anyone about to cross the line? We've got to the Albertawi boys team Mentalism on another lap as the World Rally, as 7,000 slower than his previous best. Killcry, unfortunately, can't go any quicker either. 4 minutes left to go. A few people just going out for a few more runs on these sets of tyres. And this is very important, Mark. They don't have as many intermediate tyres compared to the softs or the mediums when it comes to qualifying. So they've got to use it wisely. That is why people are on 2-lap or 3-lap-old inters for their runs, because there's just not enough intermediate tyres to go around to every driver.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the intermediate tyres, tyre wear shouldn't be an issue. So they can run on those pretty much all day in terms of lap times for this qualifying session. Nardi with an excellent lap just then, moving up to P3. So it's a really strong showing from Falcon at the moment. So half a second covering the top 7, but I think there's more to come. I think the track is definitely getting quicker and quicker. The rain looks ever so slightly lighter. I don't think we're going to be heading into the 18s unless the rain suddenly stops, but we are certainly going to go a little bit faster if these guys can hook up their laps.
Christmas on a lap now, just past fast. No, he's not on a lap. He's going into the pits. I guess he wasn't happy with his lap time. We've got Kilcry and the AlphaTauri on his lap as well. And to the AlphaTauri boys, not that far behind on track, which is great to see. So they may use a bit of slipstream later on as Kilcry comes across the line. It's looking good for him. A 120.4 puts him in P10. And obviously they're bottom of the standings, obviously due to only making one race. They scored 16 points last time about, looking to score more this time as you get points for every place you finish. If you don't finish, you get no points. If you do finish, you do get points. So that is very, very crucial. And Kilcry doing very, very well with that as well.
Casper is about to start what will be one of his final runs. He should get time to do this lap and another one if he invalidates his first one. So he's got time to do 2 more runs. So he's going to head into Sandoval for the first time. It looks pretty smooth on the brakes there. Oh, nearly taps the wall on the outside. I think he went a little bit deep into corner. Might have cost him half a tenth there as he runs up to Casino Square.
Yeah, looking good so far. I see a little bit of a more grit on some parts of the track as well, so maybe that's why some of the drivers are using it. And you're going through past the Mirabel and then going through towards the hairpin now as he takes maximum speed as he possibly can and down into second gear. And if these guys get this wrong, then that can cause a huge pile up. Definitely.
He's aborted. He's way down. I thought he did go quite deep into Sandoval. So yeah, he's aborted that run. So this now puts into hands of Gamer, who's just heading through to the end of Sector 1 through Casino Square. So this is an opportunity for Gamer to get a faster lap in. And he's slightly down on his first sector. But generally speaking, in these second runs, they have been not going particularly faster in Sector 1 as the tracks are wrapped up. But it's then Sector 2 and Sector 3 where they've really been gaining the time.
Yeah, Sector 3 especially. I've been watching all these drivers since the very start, and that's where they gained the most. I thought they weren't going to go quicker in, say, Sector 2, but in Sector 3, they absolutely nail it. And you can see as well, the tunnel is quite dry, whereas on the actual, when you go past the tunnel, that is where some people start to struggle as Gamer invalidates. That is a common place to invalidate. I've done that a few times in career mode and other league races as well. It's just so easy to just extend a little bit, and I think that's the only one you can extend, and also the swimming pool section as well. But apart from that, not many places to corner cut. But again, penalties is key. So we've got 48 seconds remaining. We still got a few more people on their final runs as well. I think Mentalism was on their final run as they have invalidated Kilcry, unfortunately. I did see someone else retire. That is Nardi. He can go no higher than third position. We got Walters for NWS coming across the line now. Can he do any better than what he was in P8? There we can't 6th third, but looks like he has enough fuel to go out for one final run. Sparks is going into the tunnel now. I want to see how he takes this the tunnel section and see how hard it is to try and not corner cut there. And you have to go so slowly through that, because if you don't, that's where you start to bin it. And 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the checker flag has fallen. So we're waiting for the final few drivers.
Sector 2. We've got to look at Casper, then Sparks straight away, because they're both absolutely flying. I think Sparks is on for at least P2, but Casper is 2 tenths up in Sector 2. This could be definitely an improvement on his pole position time. Then we'll have to go to Sparks straight away, because I think he's improving massively.
Oh, Casper improves by 9 thousandths of a second. What about Sparks? Sparks invalidated! But he didn't improve. We wouldn't have improved anyway. So, and Gamer's purple Sector 2. Gamer's looking quicker than ever. I think he could be the man that could fend off Casper in the Williams. Gamer on a high right now, and he is looking favoured to take pole position. Is it going to be another pole for CRG just like last week? Yes, he can.
There it is.
He nailed it with 3 tenths of a second compared to Casper. That's absolutely amazing. Just shows how that last sector does for you. There are still people on a lap though. Walters comes across the line, 4th place. Really good for him. And Fire stayed in 9th place. And I think, Mark, that is it. So for
Rally in P3.
Rally in P3 for Team Mentalism. That is their first top 3 start. Well, their only top 3 starts. Obviously, they were in Belgium as well. They're going to be absolutely shocked about this as well. And the other teams have got to wake up a little bit. So we got 3 different teams in the top 3. CRG and VSR we would kind of expect to be in the top 3. And we thought Falcon would join in the top 3 as well. But no, the 3rd spot belongs to Team Mentalism. And on his debut as well of World Rally, he got to get used to how the format works and everything. And he just absolutely nailed it. I think Team Mentalism have got the nail on the head when they've chosen their drivers. he was definitely a dark horse. I wasn't expecting him to do well, but wow, I think he's definitely given us a wake-up call.
Absolutely. Well, looking at the qualifying results, I mean, that's a significant advantage. Gamer just absolutely nailed that take pole position for CRG. And then Casper in P2, and then well rallied P3. I would say the star qualifying, definitely not expected to be that high. And then Nardi in P4, Waters in P5, 6 different squads in the top 6 with Warren in P6, Falcon in P7, Sparks in P8. I think he'll be slightly disappointed with that. Firemen in P9, Fire in P10. So plenty of different squads in top 10. Then outside top 10, we've got Killcry, and then Houston Aero for SHV. A disappointing qualifying for Democracy's Fabi. S2V up next with Zokolet, Jopa, then Christmas, Benjamin, Ignaz, and Luke of the quali band to make up the grid.
Starting last place may not be at a disadvantage, so he can try and avoid the Saint Devot chaos if there is any, but a lot of people will be taking it a little bit cautious into turn 1 because, again, it's really hard to overtake, and it looks like we're going to have a dry session in this Monaco Grand Prix, so no wets to start the race, just like last week. But one advantage as well they have for this race, since they were all on intermediate tyres for the whole of qualifying, they didn't need to worry about what tyres they need to start the race on because they've got free choice of tyres. So I wonder if some of these guys will probably go for the alternate strat, or will they just opt to go for the soft like usual, take it as long as they can, and then go on to the mediums or the hards. This is going to be very, very intriguing to say the least, and I'm looking forward to seeing the action unfold, Mark.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of different strategies employed, particularly outside the top 10, I'd say. Will anyone be brave enough to do an alternate strategy? But as I mentioned earlier on, the overcut can be very powerful here in the attempt to avoid, falling into slower traffic. So I think that will be something, particularly those who have clearly a lot of pace, will be thinking about. But Gamer, definitely in the best seat in the house. This is one track where if you're pole position, you can really control the start. And as long as you don't mess that up and you're leading, then it's going to be very difficult for the guys behind to get past.
Yeah, definitely as well. So a lot of drivers taking a while to choose what tyres they would start the race on as well. Maybe people outside the top 10 will probably definitely go for the alternate strategy, but I wonder what people will go for, people inside the top 10 as well. But just a quick reminder with the standings, actually, CRG coming into this, an 83-point gap. No matter what happens, CRG are still going to be top of the standings after Monaco, because whatever happens, no one else can catch them. They can close in. They can close in the likes of Falcon and VSR and NWS and BDG, but they just can't take the lead, if that makes sense. So looking at the tyres, wow, everyone's going for the medium tyres except VRT Benjamin. Ignaz has gone for the hards and Luke for the soft. So VRT going for the same strategy, but Ignaz not doing the same as what his teammate Fire is doing in the top 10. But to be honest, Mark, I'm not that surprised that they've gone for the mediums. That is the tyre that lasts the longest, and they can pretty much go on any tyre if they make a mistake around here. So I think a wise choice for the drivers that went for the mediums, I think.
Yes, and given the frequency of safety cars in, I think the medium is a good tyre to start on, gives you the most tactical sort of flexibility, because I think we will see several safety cars here today.
Yes, I think I'm probably going to expect probably about 1 or 2, maybe. I don't know. Let us know in chat how many safety cars you think we will have in this race as well. And maybe some people will opt for the hard tyres if a safety car comes into play. But it will have to be around about lap 3 and lap 4 to make any difference, because otherwise we'll have to go out again for one final attempt or one final stint, or they're going to try and make sure that they get it. So for some reason, the fastest lap is still showing from qualifying. So I'm going to try and get that back. Nope, it's still showing for some weird reason. So apologies about that. Hopefully it will reset at the start of the race. But loads of predictions, I think I would say. And let us know in the chat who your predictions are. But who's your money on to win this race out of, I would say, the top 6?
Oof. It's hard to, well, I mean, Gamer's in great form at the moment. Casper is very much a driver who enjoys racing around the street to Monte Carlo. I mean, it could come down to the start. It could be as simple as that. But it's going to be all about the drivers in the middle of the pack, trying to avoid contact, especially when they all slow down for that hairpin for the first time, which is so difficult to navigate. But, once it settles down, it's going to be up to, the fast drivers. When do they pit? Because it could really dictate the strategy for those behind.
Here we go then. Here we are, the halfway stage of the season. The second half begins very, very soon. The 5 red lights are on. And we are underway. A good start from Game, a good start from Casper, and there's a bit of ghosting as well as the timing glitch is appearing so far, going side by side, but Casper has got a stonking start going side by side, but Gamer got a really good run going into Sandoval as well. How has everyone gone past Sandoval? Looks so clean so far, as they're making some really good moves up behind as well. We got the Renault of the BGG boys going from move 2. That's really great to see, as Warren is up into 7th place. I don't know where Warren is because it's not telling me on my screen. Yeah, up to 5th place. I was very close.
Dear.
And there's a pilot. There's a pilot with the Renault guy. And Juice and Chocolate already got penalties. Oh my God, there is definitely a pilot going into that Grand Hotel hairpin right up the back as well. So I think people from outside the top 10 got involved in that, but everyone inside the top 10, I think most of them got away scot-free. But it's Gaming that leads, Casper in 2nd, and Royal Rally in 3rd. So the top 3 remain unchanged at the moment, but we got VSC.
Yeah, and we've got 6 drivers who got 5-second penalties in that little exchange, and at least the same amount of drivers I think had wing damage. It looked at least a quarter of the field getting involved in that Constantine effect, which I did talk about before the field. But under a virtual safety car, they should be allowed to serve that 5-second penalty. So if they have got wing damage, it might be the best time to do it now. So I think the VSE will come in soon. I'm not really sure why it was even brought out, to be honest. No one had actually crashed, but we're underway again.
Yeah, we are underway as well, and we're seeing more moves into Sandoval again. Casper trying to go for a move around the inside, doesn't quite work. Well, Rally was almost trying to get a move there as well. Still going side by side, going into the casino square there. Casper's really going for it right now. He wants that win for VSR, but look at Royal Rally. Royal Rally is absolutely showing off the pace right now, as he's going to try and go to the left-hand side into the hairpin. Can he quite do it? No, he can't, as we're seeing a predictive pit stop strategy coming up on your screen. That's 20 to 30 is when we're going to see most people pitting if they want to go a mediums to hard strategy, or will we see people go for mediums to soft runners so far? DRS will come into effect around about lap 3. Nardi already out of DRS range as he tries to catch up to World Rally behind. Nobody getting penalties so far from people out inside the top 10, which is good news, but I have a feeling people are going to get quite a few warnings already, but quite a few people gain position, a few people drop position. This is all to play for here, but you know, I mean, it's nice to see a battle up front between the top 3, and I'm very impressed with the Team Mentalism driver of World Rally. I thought he was just going to basically go behind and let Falcon and Warren go past, but no, he's actually fighting against VSR and CRG.
Yes, and well, Nardi, he sort of drops back a bit because of the virtual safety car, but now he's on the pace. He sets the fastest lap of the race, early doors, of course, as Christmas does. I just want to explain what happened in the pits when everybody came in. So the two SHZ and 2 VRT drivers, they all came in because of the 5-second penalties. The first Red Bull driver was held in his box and replacing his wing. So that means the first Ferrari driver was getting his wing changed. He was blocked by both the Red Bulls. So he effectively had a 10-15 second penalty because of that. And then finally they all got released, but it was a comical situation that developed down there. That's why they're so far behind.
That is unfortunate, and honestly, since it's a really short lap, it's very quick for people to get lapped here as well. So that is a shame for both of the VRT guys as well, and also obviously the Red Bulls as well. The Red Bulls have retained their lineup for quite some time of Juiced and Aero, so they've got a lot of work to do right now as they're heading towards DRS territory now as well. World Rally dropping back a little bit. Nardi is coming back at them right now, and Nardi again still looking like to be the favourite as well. World Rally almost had a little bit of a swerve there going towards the final corner, but we're seeing people, due to the dirty air, not able to get past as they were in turn 1, but it's just great that they're going for moves anyway, even going through Casino Square. Not many people going for it as of yet. We're going to watch on board with Fabi as he's right behind Fire at the moment, as he's slowing down a little bit. Is he going to try and get for a move past Fire? Oh, he was very close on the gearbox there, but no move as of yet. But the gaps are starting to increase up front, but we're still seeing the DRS train from 1st down to 9th. And again, if they get penalties, they're going to drop way down the order. But we had only one virtual safety car at the moment. Juice gets past Christmas as Christmas goes into the pits, and I do believe that was for front wing change. So Christmas goes onto the hards, and since he pitted roughly about now, I think he could get those tyres roughly until the end of the Grand Prix, as it lasts about 35-36 laps. So he doesn't need to pit again, and it may work in his favour. So his race is far from over the Alfa Romeo driver if he pitted now, which he did. So a good move for pitting for damage, because he got rid of... No, he didn't get rid of his penalties, but if he had a 5-second, it got rid of them at least. So there he goes, carrying on his race. And I think he doesn't have to pit again unless there is a safety car, which you'll probably go onto the mediums on the soft somehow. But yeah, the top two, 8/10 of a second, Rally 5/10, and Nardi 6/10 of a second. This is getting very, very exciting.
Yes, I'm just looking at a battle between Ignaz and Benjamin for P17. It's one of the closer battles on the track. Hards versus medium tyres. Ignaz getting a little bit closer, but not able to pass. Just to mention, Falcon Nardi looks the quickest of the top four at the moment. Just seems to have a very planted front end. Definitely threatening World Rally for P3 at the moment, but obviously it's going to be very difficult for him to overtaking. So it really needs to rely on a World Rally mistake to get ahead, but Nardi just looks definitely quicker than World Rally at the moment.
Yeah, and this is the corner where people could potentially go for moves as well, but there is a danger that people could be track extending as well. But there is a danger as well, if people go near the wall and they go fast on it, then that's it. And if you get from, I would say, the Nouvelle Chicane through Rascasse Ride, then it's just great to watch as a spectator, and they try to go for moves. It's just absolutely fantastic as they make their way through turn one now. And the pit stops are going to be a while, yeah, 'cause obviously they're not going on the soft compounded tyres. So it's going to be a possession for some of these drivers due to the dirty air, but they're still within 7/10 per second. Casper still keeping up to Gamer, and that's very, very important. World Rally still keeping up with these guys, and Nardi 3/10 per second now. Still not gutsy enough to go for a move, but I'm guessing he's playing the long game. He doesn't want to go for moves yet because he knows that people may be pushing just a little bit harder than him, and he could benefit from this going towards the end of his medium stint, and then he either goes onto the hards or the softs. Maybe he's aiming for a medium to soft stint by the way that he is going, but he's got Warren catching up behind him as well as Walters. We got a battle between Juiced and Fido as well, going to Sandebot. Juiced, another position for him that puts him up into P14, making up for lost time at the moment, the Red Bull drivers. And Fire just pitted as well, I believe, for the hard tyres too, so that will make it to the end of the Grand Prix.
Yes, unfortunately, Fire, he did get some damage. That's why he came in quite early off from the medium. So he's going to go on to the end of the race, he hopes, on the hards. But unfortunately, because of that damage, Juice has actually had really seriously good pace since that disastrous opening lap. But obviously, he's down in P14 and 22 seconds behind P13. He's
going to have a lot of clear air as well, which may benefit him as he tries to catch up to the likes of Yorpa and Fabi as well later on in the race. And he's got fresher tyres as well. And when the tyres go from around about lap 20, that is when Juice will start to have his tyres on fire and start to gain a little bit more in terms of lap time, as long as he doesn't get any damage, of course, as well. So Juice, it's a long way to go, but I think he could still do it as well. We've got two CRG, we've got CRG and VSR fighting at the front, and we've got CRG versus VSR fighting for the mid-pack as well, with Sparks and Simon going through the just past the tunnel here. And they're not going for a move, but Sparks right on the back of Avaro, the Valcon boy in P7, looking quite good so far. Just looking at the positions gained, with Warren gaining 1 place, Chotler gaining 5, with Fabi and Yorpa gaining 3. Bearing in mind a few people have pitted. Benjamin, despite him getting caught up in the pit stop, has gained 1 place. Christmas has gained 1 place despite his pit stop, and Ignaz has gained 1. But the biggest loser, Fire and Aero, dropped down 6 places from the starting line, and Luke is not gaining from his starting point of P20 due to that earlier pit stop hold up from his teammate and the Red Bull drivers.
Yeah, I mean, to gain that many places, it just shows you they were able to avoid the carnage. There's still four drivers who are due to get a time penalty when they pit, such as Christmas, etc. and Jorpa. So both S2V drivers are due penalties, so they won't want to be pitting on the same lap, otherwise that would be an absolute disastrous double stack for them. So Juice still has a chance of getting a top 10 finish on that basis, because there's quite a few drivers ahead of him who still have to serve 5-second time penalties. Falcon, Nardi all over the back of Rally now, who, despite having really good pace in the open laps, is beginning to drop back a little bit from the top two. 1.8 the gap between P2 and P3.
I think it reminds me of the Turkish Grand Prix, where quite a few drivers, Albon in particular, were pushing earlier on, and that allowed the drivers who were saving their tyres, such as Hamilton and Perez, to really start to gain on them as well. And just look at the speed that Nardi was carrying just past Raskas as well. And Walter's looking good on Warren as well. But let's see how Nardi's going to do into turn 1. Not gutsy enough either. World Rally's just benefiting from having Nardi behind him. But the more that they keep Nardi behind, the more everyone else is going to start to gain as well. And that's really going to cost both teams if I were you. So I think Nardi is... Oh, there was a bit of a slide there from Nardi almost there. That may have lost a bit of a time, but he's still managing to gain some time back from World Rally. But that's allowed Warren to be back in the mix as well as Walters. The hotel hairpin is starting to have more cars on the train. It's like a trolley train, but this time it's World Rally leading it. And we've got, I believe, Diamond in the back of it as well, that is probably ready to make up for this if other people make a mistake. But Nardi did not go for the move there. I'm seeing if anyone else behind are going for a move just past the tunnel. Nope, not at the moment. So that is it for moves as of yet. But yeah, World Rally he's doing well holding up these guys, but he can't hold these up for too long. I think he's just got to try and defend for his life, because this is the position that MMT weren't expecting come the start of this race. But they must be holding on for dear life. It kind of reminds me of Hamilton versus Verstappen. I think the same feelings are going through all the drivers' mind who are in team mentalism right now.
Absolutely, yeah. He had a superb qualifying in the wet, but it's finding life a bit more tricky under the bright Monte Carlo sunshine on the Riviera of France. But Nardi, yeah, he's been all over the back of him, but he is especially into the entry towards Mirabeau. He's just sort of getting into that dirty air and struggling to get the power down. But as the laps go on, the front end of that AlphaTauri ahead of World Rally is getting twitchier by the minute. So I just feel like a mistake's coming.
Yeah, I can see with the way he's managing with these tyres, he's just pushing too much as well. And you can see the lockups as well. It's really affecting as well. And you can see World Rally's ERS is down at 15%. His fuel as well is on the yellow as well. So he definitely was pushing really hard. And it's really hard around here to charge your battery around Monaco. You're going to probably rely on a safety car. So World Rally has got a tough task ahead, whereas Nardi, if he gets the move done, he can defend off World Rally and defend with his overtake. He's got his overtake done now. I think he's going to go for the move going into Sandoval. And no, World Rally covers that very nicely indeed going into Sandoval. And he keeps the position miraculously. Brilliant stuff from him as well. Nardi tried, bless him, though, as they go through, just going into Casino Square. Now another potential place of overtaking, but it's going to be very, very risky if they get this done. No, Nardi is going to probably wait for the tunnel as well. And we got Warren as well, just catching up just by a few tenths. My, oh my, this is getting closer by the second.
It really is. Nardi's doing a brilliant job putting Rally under pressure, but so far the Mentalism driver is holding firm. But will that dam break soon? I just get the sense that he's locking up his tyres so much. He's putting so much energy into those tyres. He's going to be wearing those out sooner than the car behind, that is for sure. And that's when we may see a mistake.
Don't forget, Pirelli have brought the softest compound to the races this weekend, which is the C5s, the C4s and the C3. So the mediums are going to be a lot harder to handle than obviously other tracks as well, where most of them were the C4s, the C3s and the C2s. Bahrain is going to be a little bit trickier as well when we go to very, very soon as well. And Vietnam, obviously another difficult track as we go through the triple headers. Again, a slide from Nardi, that's cost him way too much time. And unfortunately did not go for the move. Walters almost looked like he was going to go for a move on Warren too. It just looks like the dirty air is affecting them, but you can also see up front the gap is fluctuating between around about 8 tenths to 5 tenths, but still no movement. But it looks like the top two are running in a league of their own right now for the race victory. And then we've got a train from 3rd to 9th, and then we've got another train of people on their own trains with clear air, and that's pretty much it. So there's 3 separate fights today, but don't forget everybody gets points as long as you finish. And miraculously, Mark, everybody is still going. All 20 cars are still on the grid racing. Are we going to get a first race in a while where all 20 cars finish? I've never seen that in Monaco. I wonder if we're going to see that tonight. I've probably jinxed myself now. Someone's probably going to retire soon. But yeah, I just hope that most of these guys actually finish, because otherwise they're going to lose so much points by just not finishing.
Yes, well, these are not ordinary drivers, so, we don't see too many retirements in this series purely for the fact that, these are pretty good drivers. They know how to keep it on the road. And as I say that, oh my goodness, Rally went so deep, and he may lose position here. Poor exit. Here comes Nardi, and it through into P3 goes. He went so deep, barely avoided the wall as Sandavot, but he's lost a position because he just couldn't get the power down on the run up. And finally the pressure has paid off, and Nardi is ahead, but he's 4 seconds behind. But can Nardi now show the pace he had earlier on in the race and catch up to the top two?
He's looking really quick at the moment, and I think it was inevitable that Nardi was going to get past World Rally. I think it was a question of when and not if, and I think my jinx is starting to come into effect, but there is a yellow flag. I think there was just someone getting damaged maybe, but I wasn't quite sure. It was a slight yellow flag.
No, it was Luke. Luke has been lapped for VRT, so a dreadful day for VRT. P17 and 20 at the moment. They were affected by that massive shunt at the hairpin on the first lap, so that just completely destroyed their race. So so far, Nardi is since overtaking him, has matched the sector times on the top two, and has actually gained a 10th in the final sector, so slightly quicker than the top two at the moment.
Yeah, that's going to come into effect in terms of the pits as well. Maybe Nardi will be brave and doing the maybe try and do the undercut or maybe the overcut. If they do either or, if they do nothing other than that, then he's probably going to lose time. So he's got a thing on his feet here as well. His teammate though, Avaro, has got a bit of a gap there, so they can pit no problem. But the double stacking, like we said earlier, does not work on this game. Nardi finding another 10th between himself and Casper as well, which is great to see too. Sparks and Diamond still fighting over for P8 and at P9, and Chocolate's in that battle as Zokla, I can't even say his name, battling for P10 as Luke is being lapped again by the other drivers. I think I won't be surprised if everyone gets lapped by him, unfortunately. Just unfortunately he got held up like that so fast. That's what the yellow flag was for. Only damage we've seen is from the beginning of the race. No much damage coming into the middle of the half of the race, as they've just been conserving a little bit as well, not going for moves unless they see fit and unless they can go for space. And you can really see that the medium tyres, they're starting to wear out a bit more. They're struggling for grip. The tyre temperature a little bit hot as well. And we can see Avaro is saving his ERS a lot around here. He hasn't used up much. He used about 10% in the start-finish straight, and that's it. I think he's not going for the ERS unless he can actually go for the move, where some people are just gaining it as they see fit. We got Warren, for example, on 30%, for example. Rally is still losing his ERS and still on the yellow warning light. I'm a bit worried he's going to run out of fuel towards the end of the race, so I wonder if his engineer is going to tell him to just save the fuel right now, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of people catching up to you towards the end. We've got Warren and Volters catching up to the train of World Rally as well. So it was a nice showing for him while it lasted, but we are starting to see the other teams that have been on top of their game this season really start to unfold and probably start to overtake him very, very soon.
Yes, but it's still P4, still plenty of laps to go. It's Christmas, finally pits for a wing change and a penalty as well, so he'll be well down the order. He'll be more than likely being lapped by the time he's done with that penalty. So yeah, that's 2 drivers lapped. Don't often see drivers being lapped, but it's such just a short lap. If you have a disastrous opening lap and penalties and stuff, it's very easy to get lapped here. But yeah, so the top 2, they probably saw that Nardi was starting to come back at them, so they were given the hurry up a bit, and now the gap is over 4 seconds again from the top 2 to Nardi. Nardi's already got 2 seconds, so that just shows the superior pace he had all along compared to World Rally, who's all under pressure from the Brutal Democracy driver Warren, who will be keen to get into that P4 position.
Yeah, BGG and NWS are level on points in the championship, and believe it or not, those two are fighting both positions on track. So NWS is probably in the right position right now, just waiting for an instant to happen, but he's probably going to hope not to have an instant, so obviously they want to fight the BGG boys as well. BGG looking very impressive with the likes of Warren. Warren likes Street Circus as well, done well in league race in the past around here as well, as they go past the tunnel now as well. And I could just see World Rally is just struggling a little bit. He's just losing so much time compared to the likes of Warren and Volters, who are similar in sector times, whereas World Rally just a little bit slower right now, as well as World Rally just gained a little bit on Warren as well, which was very, very impressive indeed. As we are approaching the pit windows very, very soon, a few people will be thinking, what tyres will they go onto? Will they stay out a bit longer, go on the hards, or will they risk it for a chocolate biscuit and go onto the soft tyres? Either one of those is possible. But some of these guys may just stretch it out for a little bit longer and try and go onto the soft, because I believe if I look at my stats on how long the softs last around this track, it lasts about 13 laps. So they're going to pit just a little bit later, around about lap 25 is when we will see people go into the pits for the softs. But if they want to go for the hards, around about lap 20 is when they could go. But hards they could go to the end of the race anyway, so it doesn't matter when they pit. But you're just seeing a train of cars. They're going to lose so much time in traffic. So for some of these guys, they may want to pit very, very soon, or they may just want to wait just a little bit longer. But I wonder, do you lose time by just getting held up by the cars in front of you or behind you, or would you lose time to do any undercut? We'll just have to find out as the session goes on.
Yeah, space is at a premium in Monaco, of course. Now, for the top two, for Game and Casper, their critical cars are Kilcry and Fabi. So what they've really got to do is have the gap to come out in front of them, because they are in a very narrow window that if they mess up their pit entry or their pit exit, they could get overtaken and get stuck behind a slower car for a lap. And I think that could be very critical, because I do think, given the similar pace of Gamer and Casper, and given how difficult it is to overtake it, it could well come down to their outlaps who wins this race, assuming they don't get any time penalties, which at the moment they do not. They only have one warning between them.
Yep, indeed. Running very, very well. And obviously in a other race type of scenario, the likes of Bahrain, Silverstone, and obviously Singapore as well, and Belgium we saw last week, Monza, if you're roughly about this pace as well, you could possibly try and go for a move. But again, it's Monaco, it's narrow, it's either you try and go for the move or you hit the wall, and you do not want to hit that. As well as Nardi, I think almost lost it in the tunnel there. He might have lost a bit of his end plate there as well, but he's still gaining it to Casper and Gamer, about 3.8 seconds now. The gap was 4 seconds.
Oh no. Aero just tried to go for a Verstappen-esque move, and Ignaz didn't quite get it done, and Ignaz has ended up in the wall. I think he got light damage from that. I thought it was going to be a bit more of a disastrous incident than that. Yeah, I think Ignaz, slightly clumsy move from Aero. It was on, but yeah, just didn't quite execute it right.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but Aero wanted to take some risks, of course. He's down in P18, not where Team Shazoo would want to be, to P6 in the standings. They're probably going to drop quite a bit, because obviously their rivals, STV, having a strong showing in 10th and 13th as well. So they're just going to be at a disadvantage right now as well. But they probably might be ahead of Veteranos as well, which is their main rivals in the race so far. But Luke setting fastest laps, but I think Luke just wants to go for glory points at the moment, which is great to see. But his teammate Benjamin has got a 3-second time penalty. I need to check how many penalties he's got. That's his first one as well. Fabi's on 10 seconds, which I believe both were stop go penalties, with Yorp also getting a stop go as well as Chocolate, so they'll be serving it when their next pit. And Juice has got 3 seconds. Benjamin has got 3. As Fabi has just got the move past Kilcry. Well, trying to get the move past into just past the tunnel there. Great stuff from Fabi, trying to hold that on as well. And Kilcry doing well, trying to hold off that move. But yeah, still in 12th position. They're going to still gain more positions than last week, more points than last week. Sorry, Team Mentalism at the moment. And they're not going to worry about pit stops between those two. But yeah, Fabi and Kilcry we're riding on board with right now. We got these two. Well, we got a call from Ted Kravitz. Fabi is going on to the soft tyres for his next pit stop. So that is intriguing to say the least, because I thought the soft don't last up to this point. But maybe he's predicting an early safety car, maybe. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But yeah, Fabi is just going for the gamble and going for the soft tyres. But he may ignore Jeff and may go in a few laps' time, which is probably what I would do, because sometimes Jeff is a bit annoying on this game.
Well, to say the least. But in terms of the gap for the top two, to the drivers I was talking about earlier, they're now definitely safe. Kilcry's just let Jorpa through for some reason. I don't know if he's had an issue somewhere or maybe he's got wing damage, but yeah, he's just allowed SUV's jaw to get ahead. So he's now down to P13. So I think the top two will be thinking about a pit stop soon. I think it looks like to me they're trying to stretch it out to the softs. I'm not sure they're going to go to the hards at this point because they've gone 21 lap mediums. So logically, it wouldn't make sense to go on the hards for less laps. So I think they're going to stretch it to the softs now. And I think the majority of the top 10 will be thinking about the same thing.
Yeah, I think so as well. As we had the strategy pop up at the start of the stream where if you were to go onto the hards, it will be about lap 20, and we're already past lap 20, so everyone who is on the mediums is going for the soft compounder tyres. I wonder what you would do if you were on the hard tyres. The likes of Benjamin has been on those tyres for 18 laps. Would he want to go for the soft tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix, try and go for fastest lap, maybe try and beat his teammate perhaps? But we got Luke and Chris. Luke probably trying to go to the end from here as well. Obviously the softs would have pitted at lap 12, so definitely he would have gone to the end anyway for Luke as well. Luke was his second pit stop and still getting lapped as well, as we did have a yellow flag, but I think there may be a few more people getting that. But we got Luke's teammate Benjamin pitting, and it's for front wing damage. A poor showing for the Ferrari boys. It's just not their day, isn't it? But they're still not giving up. They haven't retired. They still want to gain some points in this championship, of course, because don't forget, they're not last at the moment, but they're probably going to be last again by the end of tonight with Team Mentalism on the high right now. But there we go. He's on the medium compounded tyres until the end of the Grand Prix. And watch out for the pit exit as well. We got to be careful. A lot of people do not cut that as Benjamin goes, I think they're going a battle between him and Christmas right now as well, so that's going to be interesting to say the least towards the end of the Grand Prix. And the crucial bit of this race now is Gamer has broken the DRS from Casper, 1.1 seconds. Casper needs to get back in DRS range in order to stand a chance of winning this race.
Yeah, well, it's the first time we've seen it go over a second to his top two. Such has been their consistency, but I have to say Nardi it's been lapping consistently quicker than both of them. He's now got the interval between himself and Casper down to 2.2 seconds. So Nardi is certainly showing some fantastic race pace. Now, looking back at a World Rally, he has stabilised himself since being overtaken by Nardi, having a very solid run of laps now. But surely in this sort of queue of cars, which goes down to Zoccolat, they'll be thinking, one of them's got to be thinking about making an early pit stop to try and get ahead of these guys, because I think as it stands, if they just do the same strategy as each other, there's not going to be any change of position. So one of them's got to, make the call to trigger off some pit stops, because there's still really good points on offer here from fourth down onwards. Because I think the top three, barring something unexpected, looks quite solid for the time being.
Yeah, definitely. The top three are the top three in the championship and in the same order as well. So, it shows why they're the top three in this series. And it's a team event at the end of the day as well. A lot of teams would be in a party together, communicating their strategies, deciding when should I pit now, when should you pit and stuff like that. Because if you get that right, if you tell your teammate what you're going to be doing, then your teammate won't be doing the same thing as you unless you've got a comfortable gap behind you as well. So, and if you don't do that, that's when mistakes happen, and that's when double stats can happen as well. But literally, it's going to come down to pit stops for the majority of these guys, and for the outlaps as well. As one of the Falcon drivers, Navarro, getting his first time penalty, that is up to 3 seconds for him. That could cost his team Dig going into the race as well, and a few other drivers such as Sparks, Zyman and Kilcry can gain from these guys' penalties up in front as well. As Chotler and Fabi still yet to serve their time. I think Chotler still to serve his 5-second stop go after being on the mediums for quite a bit. Oh, it might have been 3 seconds. Let me check on that. Nope, it's 5 seconds. So yeah, he will still have to serve it when he goes into the pits. Those mediums won't go until the end of the Grand Prix. Casper has got into DRS range again now. He's been told by his Jeff or his engineers that it is hammer time really. He's got to make sure that he can decrease the gap from him to Gamer just before the pit stops, because otherwise Gamer's going to have a huge advantage when they come out the pits.
Yeah, absolutely. And yet again, Luke is in for yet another pit stop. I think that's his third pit stop of the race.
Oh.
Yeah, well, actually his third pit stop. So what an awful day he's having. But we focus back now on the other drivers, and yeah, it's 9.2 seconds now between Nardi and World Rally. Yellow flags again, but I think that's some lapped cars once again.
Christmas, it was.
Yeah, so Gamer and Casper, well, lap 24, they'll certainly be thinking about pit stops soon. They're actually now approaching SHZ Aero and Ignaz, who will be laps. So they'll probably want to be pitting before then, so they don't get distracted by those two cars. Because even a ghosted car, which you can get through, is very distracting at a track like Monaco. And look at that, Walters and Warren pitting, so they're trying to trigger off the undercuts in the battle for fourth.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Warren did the right thing there, getting stuck in traffic, of course, and obviously getting held up, and the same with Walters too. So those two are going to have a huge advantage compared to their rivals trying to get fourth place, but they're still pitting together, which is surprising, because I thought Warren or Walters was going to pit before, but I think what has happened is Walters saw Warren pit and it was like, nope, I'm not going to let Warren have the advantage, I'm going to pit too, or maybe they were going to pit then anyway, so they're going to be on the softs until the end, and we're going to watch the deltas start to increase between these guys as well. They're going to be back to near where they are very, very soon, and probably gain a lot of advantage due to that as well. And you can already see up front, Rolled Rally 10 seconds behind Gnarly now, and 2.3 seconds behind
Casper
Navarro.
pits.
Casper pits for the undercut by the sounds of it. He's decided enough's enough as well. And one advantage is with Williams, they're not going to get held up in the pit lane because they're obviously last in the pit lane as well. So let's see, the pit stop has got to be clean. It's got to be good. Obviously, we can't see what the pit stop time is, but it looked pretty decent. I'm not entirely sure. It looked like he got held up a little bit, but it may have been a spectator glitch on my end. So he's getting past traffic. Oh, that's a good pit stop from him. That puts him in fourth position, but the gap to leader is around about...
Oh, he's got a racing point. Casper's got a racing point right ahead of him. That's going to be so costly on his outlap. He needs clean air right now. This is the danger of this. So I think this is going to play beautifully into Gamer's hands.
Casper's got to get past. The pit stop loss is around about 18.5 seconds. And if you get any more than that, the gap, then pretty much Casper can lose his chance of getting the win here today. So Casper's going to try and possibly get the move. Chotler will need to pit as well, but there he goes. No problem for Casper as well. I think Chotler knew that. I think he had to let him through because obviously they were on a different strategy. Gamer is going into the pits now. 18.1 seconds. It's going to be close between a Gamer and Casper.
So close.
It's going to be tight.
Yeah, Casper's got to absolutely nail sector 3 now that he's cleared that traffic. Yeah, this is going to be so close. Gamer's now coming out of the pit lane. I think Casper may have half a chance of this. It's going to be mightily close here.
Casper's leading.
I think Casper's got it.
Wow, so that undercut, we did say it would be powerful around here if you can make it work, and Gamer was leading for the whole race, and by Casper's advantage of him deciding, right, I'm going to pit now, that has really helped him there as well. So that's very, very great to see. Aurora and Chotlet, they're in the pits as well. Simon and Sparks appeared, I think, roughly at the same time, so they did the same as what Warren and Walters did earlier on the Grand Prix. We only had 2 teams win so far in this series. Will we see a third team pick up the victory? But don't forget, we almost got like 13 laps to go. It's anything can happen. We've seen our game is so quick around here as well. Both of these guys may force each other to get penalties. I don't know, but yes, it all came down to, I think, the final sector. The second sector as well for Casper, that really sealed it for him. So yeah, we have a new leader for the first time in 27 laps, I would say. So Casper leads, Gamer second, Nardi third.
Yeah, well, I thought that getting behind Zokolab, but because he was able to overtake him so quickly and gain the speed following the slipstream of him, he was 8/10 quicker in sector 2 alone, Casper. So that sector 2 was actually good enough to get the undercut to work. And Gamer, though, he's still going to be in this. 2 warnings for Nardi, 1 each for Gamer and Casper. So 1 time penalty could swing it in the favour of one of these 3 drivers at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And they've been practicing a lot, trying not to get time penalties. If it was a track like Bahrain, where we'll be going to next, I believe it is more common to get penalties. But around here, less of an option to get penalties. The only people getting penalties are people outside the top 8, with Avara getting 1, Fabi getting 1, ex-Ocolet served his 5-second stop go in the pit lane, as well as a few other drivers as well. Yorpa getting a penalty juiced as well, but we got Christmas as well, who is on the medium tires. We do see people going side by side. That's Kilcry and Yorpa going for a move just past Sandoval, and is Kilcry he just got past him by the looks of things as well. But we've got Ignaz 17.3 seconds behind, but Yorpa still looking good on those hard tires. It's far from over, yeah, but the Mentalism boys on the soft tyres is really working wonders here as well. And we got World Rally as well, 2 tenths behind Warren. This is just getting almighty for everyone pretty much through the whole field as we got a move probably from World Rally into Raskas. Nope, not quite. This is just getting so intense to watch. I can't wait. Even a small mistake could cost him here as well. I think Ron's going to try and cover World Rally into Sandoval, which he does. A bit of a slide, I think, from both of them as well. But Gamer's already caught up to Casper up front.
Absolutely, Gamer setting the fast lap of the race. We're in the 109s now. So World Rally, a victim of the undercut there. That's how Walters and Warren got ahead, and they pitted the lap before he did. And my goodness, World Rally all over the back of Democracy's Warren there, trying to get ahead, and there's a big queue of cars behind him. One mistake here, it's going to be an almighty pile-up. Sparks, fireman, Sparks has just been unable to move very much forward. It just shows you how costly his qualifying was. Even a few more places up further, he would have been up there, I would say, with, you know, Nardi at least battling for B3. But as it is, they're 13 seconds behind the top 3.
Yes, but Sparks they've got 2 CRG boys in the top 10. Same with Falcon and same with VSR as well. So 3 teams have got 2 of their drivers inside the top 10, which is going to help in terms of points, and they're in the top 3 of the championship as well. But just look at that train as we've got one of the VSR drivers of Simon trying to go for a move past Avaro, but Avaro actually goes past him. Or it might have been the effect of the undercut, but Avaro's got a penalty. So as long as Simon could try and stay clear of these guys, then he can still get P8 on the track, which is probably not what he wanted originally, but he's still going to get some points anyway, which will be great to see as well. And we can see Warren and World Rally really going for it. You can see World Rally going for a risk here. Oh my goodness, this may not end right as World Rally took a risk there. And we can see Sparks trying to go for a move on Avaro. This is probably the crucial moment. So he spun it into, I can't remember what, it's the hotel hairpin, and that just shows that if you make a mistake like that, it's going to cost you. That's very unfortunate, and it looked like a good showing for the Team Falcon boys today, but Falcon is in danger of falling outside the top 10. Maybe due to penalties, but that's going to put S2V in the mix as well. That is amazing to see that they're still fighting for a top 10 finish. I'm really proud of those. They've chosen the right men for the job in Monaco. Of course, the last street circuit, don't forget, we've got is Vietnam. So we're not at the last of the street circuits, I've got to say. So if they do well here, I won't be surprised if a lot of these guys will probably be asked to, via their respective teams, to race in Vietnam as well. And we're seeing the gap starting to fluctuate with the top 2. It was 9 tenths, 8 tenths, 7 tenths.
Here comes World Rally. Here comes World Rally. Oh, what a move that is through Casino Square. Round the outside. Half a drift almost to get through. That was an absolutely barnstorming move there. Unbelievable. And Warren's so shaken up by that. He's been overtaken by Feynman as well. Well, tell you what, that was absolutely brilliant from World Rally. He was trying to line it up the lap before, didn't quite have the space for it. Warren gave him a little bit more respect there, a little bit more space, and got it done. That was the move of the race easily. Fantastic.
I think World Rally has learned from his lessons. He started off behind a strong start, didn't quite get a good middle before he peered onto the softs, but he's absolutely flying. But like I said, there is a danger that if he pushes for like he did at the start of the race, there could be a danger that the likes of Diamond and Warren can catch up again, and he's running out of fuel again and ERS, so World Rally, do not push too soon, because otherwise you're going to lose grip on your tyres. They're only meant to last 12 laps, but if you push too hard, they're probably going to last less than that and potentially get punches as well. But yeah, World Rally definitely going above and beyond anyway, and they're definitely going to take a few teams by surprise. I wonder if World Rally is going to be used in Vietnam as well. But Simon is right on the back of World Rally, ready to pounce. As Simon has had a good last half of the race so far. Warren almost getting past Sparks there, but actually no, Sparks getting past Warren there. But Shotler is trying to get past Ron, just into the Nouvelle, whatever you call it. I can't remember what corners, but they're in the hairpin now. And S2V up into P8, the other S2V boy in Europe in 14th place, minding his own business. He's still got a battle with the Team Veteranos in P13. We still got to follow these guys as well. There's still a lot of battles going on there, but 4 tenths is the gap now between P1 and P2. But we can see Falcon and Warren going side by side into just past the tunnel, and Navarro is making up for lost time. He's up into P9. That is definitely what he wants. He's on a combat charge now. It's far from over for the Mercedes. He's still within touching distance of Chocolate and Sparks as well, but 3 attempts now as a gap between Gamer and Casper. This could come down to the final few laps here. This is going to get very exciting.
Yeah, well, so exciting. I've been trying to mention for about a minute that Warren's got wing damage. That's why he's tumbling down the field so much.
Right, sorry.
But he's in the pit lane to get out of place. So yeah, unfortunate for Warren. Yeah, so the I think there was contact on the wall as he was being overtaken by World Rally, or maybe with that. I don't think it was like anything illegal about that. I think just one of those unfortunate things that can happen in Monaco. But yeah, Gamer is all over the back of Casper, sort of Mansell Senna 92-esque, but just isn't able to get past. And Nardi's there keeping a watching brief. Warnings are still exactly the same as they were as we enter the closing stages.
I think the person that has gained out of the top 3 out of all of this is Nardi. He was around about 3 seconds or so before the pit stops behind these lot. Now it's around about a second. If any of those two get a few more warnings or make a mistake and in the wall, then Nardi just can come up and pout to say thank you very much. That's my second win of the season. And, Nardi could still be in this as well, as that was very tight going through that hairpin between Gamer and Casper. So Nardi, I think, is doing the right thing, just waiting. The 2-horse battle for the win, I think, is turning into a 3-horse battle. I don't think anyone outside of that is going to beat that, because Walters is 19.1 seconds behind these lots. So we all know who's going to be on the podium, but who is going to get P1 and who's going to get P2? That's all I would like to know as well. They're all in the top 3 of the championship, trying to fight for potential prize money for BGG, Brills and Moxie. Of course, you do get prize of money into this for your team if you win, and if you get into the top 3, I believe, as well. So it's great to see too. And World Rally, I think, starting to hold his own on Simon, 6 tenths now, and I think we are seeing 1992 come into force here. And if you're just behind, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage, but probably Diamond is doing his best just to wait for a little bit longer. So it's Nardi as well on lap 39 of 39. I kind of wish there would be more laps. This definitely reminds me of the final few laps of the 2019 Monaco Grand Prix. Instead, there was only there's 3 cars instead of 2 cars fighting for the win. Who's your money on to win? As we had Nardi almost hitting the back of Gamer there, but no damage there. But yeah, let us know in the chat who is your money on to win this race, because to be honest, Mark, I don't have a clue. I'm not going to put a driver's name on who I think I should win, because they should win, because any of those 3 deserve it.
Yeah, but all 3 of these drivers highly experienced in the F1 community. They've been in this position many times before, in many other races, in many other leagues. However, I will say that both Casper and Gamer on this soft stint have picked up an extra warning. So all 3 of the top 3 now have 2 warnings, only 1 warning away from a potentially costly time penalty. But in many ways, Nardi has nothing to lose, because if he gets a time penalty, he's going to finish 3rd anyway. So he may as well try and go for something, not an overly risky move, because he doesn't want to completely ruin what will be a great result. But I think it's quite fitting, though, that the top 3 teams have the top 3 representatives in this race at the time being, and they are the absolute class of the field today. Nardi in particular, he was caught up on World Rally, got ahead of him, and he's proven he's had the same pace as the top 2, because he's right with them right to the end.
Yeah, I did say at the start of the stream that Nardi would be the one to watch, and to be honest, Nardi was going for a risk there, just trying to get past Gamer, a very tight position right now, and there's a ghost car behind one of the VRT boys as well that could get distracted too. But I've got to say, this is nail-biter start for Nardi. I think Nardi is having no prisoner right now. He wants to win this race, and I think he's not gonna settle for anything worse for it. He's not gonna settle for anything better. I don't know. I'm losing my track on words here, but yeah, Casper is still leading. Gamer in 2nd, Nardi in 3rd. All it takes is for a slight track extent for any one of those drivers for them to lose a victory today. They all go through to Rascals for what will be the 4th to last time in this race, and it may come down to the last few laps here. Gamer's gained a few tenths on this lap alone. He's probably going to wait until the final lap to do things. Right,
I think
now
he's looking good.
He's going to go for the move in and 2 past Sandevot. And Casper just closes the door there like no tomorrow. But I think Gamer's going to go for a move again, heading towards the next part of the circuit. Now going into the hairpin, the Grand Hotel hairpin. Nope, he can't. I think Gamer's going to go for it sooner or later. I think it's a question of when, maybe for him, I don't know. And Casper's got to learn how to maybe see where Gamer could be going, of course. Try and predict on where Gamer's going to go and then try and close the door just like he did going just past Sandoval. A bit of a lock-up from Casper there as well. That left the door open a bit for Gamer. I thought Gamer could have gone for the move there, but Gamer stays put. He doesn't want to take any risks. Nardi sitting pretty in third position. And we got Chocolate fighting for spots for P7, so that race is far from over. And it looks like, out of nowhere, World Rally is still going to get P5. He's holding up a class of his own against Simon. He's gained about a few tenths in the lap alone. So very, very impressive between. I think everyone's going to be worried about him right now as the penultimate lap then. Oh, this is getting almighty, but we're just going to count down for the final few minutes of the race then. Gamer led from this race since the start of lap 1. Casper led from the pit stops, but it's not about where you start, Mark. It's where you finish when you come across the checker flag at the end of lap 39.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have to say Casper's defending on that previous lap was absolutely brilliant. I think he kind of knew the only move that Gamer could do would be a late braking maneuver in the Casino Square around the outside, and he placed it in the middle beautifully, which denied Gamer, despite having the better momentum behind, any chance of making that move happen. And I think in terms of penalties, any penalties I think we'll see at Sandoval or at the chicane, because they are abusing those corners, they're abusing those curbs. The slightest mistake, they are going to get a time penalty. We're heading towards the end of the penultimate lap now at the top 3. It's tantalizing. They are 25 seconds nearly of P4. Such has been their speed in both stints, as Gamer nearly collects a bit of wing damage on the back of the Williams of Casper. But now they're heading into the final lap. It's now VSR versus CRG versus Falcon, the top 3 heading onto the final lap here at Monte Carlo.
Casper got a really good launch going onto the start finish straight on the final lap. He knows that he wants to win this race. None of his team have been able to do so since the start of the series, and maybe on his debut he can do it, just like he done in the Esports Cup that happened just before the Trovo Cup for VSR as well, where Casper got quite a few victories as well, with obviously Danny Moreno, who's obviously also in the F1 Esports League as well with Casper, of course. Obviously Casper not racing, but Gamer has just got to go for it, take the risk, and if he doesn't get it, he doesn't go for it. But he's looking very good. He's running out of VRS as well. If he doesn't go for the lunge now, then it might be it. And the last point would be the swimming pool and into Raskas. Nardi very, very close as well, but this is gonna, there may be people getting penalties as well. Casper 5 temps now. He can just about hold enough, but it may be a run to the line. That's what Gamer has to do. He's got to have a run to the line in order to do it and get some slipstream. Who's going to take the win today? I think Gamer could do no more. Casper wins in Monaco. Gamer gets P2 and Nardi in P3. And what a finish. Casper with that undercut pit stop of dreams. The strategy works well, and that reminded me of 1992, where basically Mansell with the fresher tyres did not get the move done on Senna, and Senna had the victory. It's exactly the same here in Monaco, where Casper was on the older tyres in Gamer and Casper getting the victory there. So I think Casper had Senna to thank there, but Walters comes home in 4th, and Roll Rally with an impressive P5, and there's a car park going into Sandoval.
What on earth's happening here? They've all had enough of Monaco today. They've literally all parked it. I don't know. That's AI having an absolute brain lapse there. But I was just going to say, World Rally, I'd say definitely a contender for driver of the day. P5, Mentalism's best result in this series so far. So absolutely brilliant effort, and that move, which I think you called out on the stream, definitely a highlight of the race for me. Walters, he had a very, again, he's one of those drivers who he's not spectacular, but he just, he'll just pop up with one of those big results, outside of the podium, but he's always sort of around that sort of P4, P8 range. And once again, some very good result for NWS. So, 5 different teams in the top 5. That's what you want to see. A really competitive series. No one really dominating today. And a third different team has won, thanks to Casper's tremendous race today.
he was one of the favourites. I would got to say, Gamer and Casper was my predictions, as well as Falcon as well. So, and luckily I didn't jinx any of them, and we were treated to a really good battle towards the end there. I wonder if any one of those drivers will be going into the swimming pool after the race to celebrate their successes. I think World Rally would probably be doing that in the AlphaTauri, I would think, after his good result there as well. But for the first time, VSR are on top with Casper, and a well-deserving victory for him. But I've got to say, Gamer did pull off a really, really good fight. There was a few times where we almost had the move done there, but yeah, I think I'm glad we had a wet qualifying, because I think we wouldn't have seen this if it went the other way. So Casper wins from Gamer, who actually takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Well done to him, by quite some margin actually. So he was definitely pushing on that final lap. Nardi third, Walters fourth, World Rally fifth, and I think that means that Walters may close in a little bit on BDG maybe. We'll have to wait and see when we get the results in a few days later. We got Diamond in 6th as well, so good showing for VSR boys today. Sparks in 7th, that makes 2 CRG boys and VSR boys in the top 10. Chocolate in 8th, a very good showing from him today. Avaro in 9th, and BDG Fabi for getting that top 10 finish that he deserves. And we got Warren, Filer, Killcry, Yorpa, Aero Juice, Ignaz, Benjamin, Christmas, and Luke, and miraculously, all 20 cars in Monaco made it through to the finish. Well done, boys. You did us proud.
Yeah, everyone finishing. I mean, that's just brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant to see everyone doing that. I mean, you know, some drivers had days to forget, that is for sure. But that's what Monaco can do. Sometimes it's not always down to skill. It is very much a mental track. But I think we can agree the top 3 were not only fast, they drove pretty much perfectly. They made very little mistakes. Casper may have picked up a bit of light damage late on, which might explain the sort of, slightly nervous front end he was experiencing, but he still placed the car beautifully to hold off an extremely quick Gamer at the end.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's going to be very, very interesting as we head through the final few races, and it's going to be a triple header as well, so that's going to be interesting to say the least. I wonder what drivers they would choose for the remaining few races, and I've got to say, driver of the days is going to be a close one, but I'll have to give it to World Rally for driver of the day, I think, for this one. A driver that you weren't expecting to do well coming into this. I thought he was going to be a bit of an outsider, but he definitely showed that he was on form. There was a few moments where a few people overtook him, but it's not where you start and it's where you finish, and I think Team Mentalism are going to be very happy about that as well. So just a quick reminder of the calendar going into the next round, and we're back next week actually for the Bahrain Grand Prix on the 2nd of December, so make sure you join us then, and then after that, a week later, we go to the dreaded Vietnam in Hanoi as well. But there's still more PSGL action to come next week. So starting next Tuesday, put a date in your diaries, is where the first round of PSGL Season 27, where Formula Performance will be taking around the streets of Australia, which will be very, very exciting. And then we've got F11 and F10 on Thursday, and the first round of Xbox GL next Thursday as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and obviously before that will be our turn for the TRSF1 League. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks Mark Alimonda for joining us in the TRSF1 commentary box as always. It's a pleasure to have you along.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, I think we can agree for Monaco, that was a very entertaining race.
And we will see you next week for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Have a good evening, everybody. Goodbye.